items, and this is particularly important for this room and this meeting because we asked them in June the 19th, on June the 19th, just after the Grenfell fire, we sent a letter, again very polite, saying, could you disclose the fire risk assessments of all the buildings of Genesis
and they don't
Association? We still do not have a reply.
They don't reply to anybody.
Why don't you communicate?
A bit of attention.
Genesis.
What, you're on your mobile, aren't you? Yeah.
Look at it.
What?
What a contempt! What a contempt!
I know. Come on. Are you on your phone? I know. Well, I don't understand the point if you're not going to listen to anyone. What's the point in us coming here?
And she's on her mobile phone.
Definitely not taking it serious. No, I know. What's the point?
Guys, I understand that we're beginning to lose people here, aren't we? I think we just...
Beside you.
We cannot be heard.
Through the chair, please. I would like through the chair, which allows me to ask the question. Listen, my observation of this situation is one. This Fantasia storyline. The last time I heard that was the time I went to church. And so what is it we know about Genesis? Genesis, of course, the chairman comes on and says, it's not in our remit to have social housing. Yes. They are property developers.
Yes.
That's what Neil Haddon said.
What is it that we know about Kate Davis? She was poor like the rest of us. I believe that when she left, she was nearly homeless and stuff. She comes through the space that was built out of our own oppression. Because of the racism we had to suffer. No dogs, no blacks, no Irish. And I heard a liberal say, what's wrong with dogs? And she comes out through this. And gets because it was built off a Rackman stealing out of our people, created this empire. And what do they come? They monetize it. They make it a corporate stuff somewhere. Paying her. It's nearly going up to 200,000 soon, I believe, as she gets in. The more people she puts in, the more pennies goes in her pocket. Listen, I have no problem with people getting rich, but not off my back.
Yes.
You cannot put up rent at 80% of the public rent and poor people back. You cannot do that. You cannot, in fact, jump into bed with Capita, who's 1.5 billion pounds down. And when they have to pay the bank, they're going to be able to set up your nice little Victorian houses. Yes. Because poor people are not supposed to live there. Yes. If the model that you are suggesting worked, you'd have done it yourself. You've gone your fucking and did it. What happened? This model worked because it was social housing.
Yes.
I'm trying to...
Now you want to come and asset strip it. I refuse that.
Yes.
No to the merger.
I'm trying to bring as many people. You've been waiting. Do you want to ask your question?
Can we have a microphone?
Ask the question.
Microphone.
People ask the questions.
No, I'm all right now.
Please, you've been waiting really patiently. On you go.
I'd like to ask why you need to regenerate everything.
Let's hear the question.
Well, we can't.
Hear one better speak.
All right, can you hear me? We need a roving microphone for the audience. I can shout. No, you shouldn't have to shout.
I'd like to know why you need to regenerate. What is wrong with not-for-profit? Why can't you just repair the houses that you've got and the rest of the profits then put to other social housing? We've been regenerated, it doesn't work. It alienates us. house. Forget making your money. You go and do profits and property deals and estate agents. You do that, not with our money. You give us back our housing. We will run it. We will make sure everyone has a decent home, unlike the ones that you've got now. The amount of repairs that need to be done. So when you start saying you're going to save £20 million, where are you going to save that from? Are people going to lose their jobs from your organisations? What's going to happen? Where are you going to get the 20 million savings? Also, of those 400 houses, how much of those are social rents?
Good question.
All of them? All of them? And when you say affordable, can you just specify the rent when you say affordable? Yeah?
Thanks, Tom. Let's hear the answer.
I'm going to take the question on the £20 million efficiency and hand over to Jeremy about the affordable bit of it. So the £20 million efficiency essentially comes from bringing two organisations together with backroom functions, etc. So, for example, actually, not so much. For example, we both have sets of offices. We don't need all that office space if we work more remotely, if we're out there, if we work more digitally, etc. So that's one of the reasons for the efficiencies. The other efficiency comes from various contracts. So actually, we have I think it's about 200 contractors across the board of services that we receive that are the same. So actually coming together, we will get economies of scale on that. So they are the various things on the efficiencies.
So you're going to give it all to Kia?
So what we've said about...
Give it all to Kia, who's an absolute shambles of a contractor.
Right.
Because they've worked in Hammersmith and Fulham, and I've had dealings with them, and they're a shambles. You get too big, you lose control. You don't know what's going on.
They've been fined for rig-bigging, the biggest fine of any...
Right, can I just cover the point on regeneration? It's great that you've got homes that don't need regenerating now, but actually, lots of places in London do.
Who said that they don't?
Hang on.
Regenerating or repairing? What do you mean? What's the difference?
So regenerating is
gentrification.
Build new homes or refurbishments.
Please, let them finish, then you'll be back in.
You are still controlling the way even on the microphone.
Max.
You micromanage the meeting.
Max, if this is micromanagement, God knows what the alternative is.
Pass the microphone to the people.
Let Jeremy finish.
All right, let someone else have a question. We can talk. We can do that another time.
Okay, I've got another question. It's Sam. You go. Look, this gentleman here, it is hand.
I won't do my impression of. I did it my way. My name is. Please. What? I can enter that. My name is Stephen Aftermauer. I'm chair of Donington Court Residents Association. I've had the dubious pleasure of being the leaseholder, shared ownership under both Notting Hill Gate and I'm now under Genesis.
Yes.
One of the things that has come, and I obviously know that a lot of people are frightened about this, are repairs. A quick thing is that it took 6.5 months for Genesis to repair a glass. Sorry?
Hold on.
Okay, it took Genesis 6.5 months to repair a glass panel.
And that's not a natural phenomenon.
Yeah, okay, brother. Listen. These are not my favourite sort of people at all in any way. I've spent 46 years trying to avoid people like this, but give them their chance, and if the democratic process, let people speak and have their turn. Because apart from anything else, it's just rude. Okay? So we can all be good manners, and let's be rude. So if you'd like me to, can I carry on? Okay, so it took Genesis 6.5 months to repair a glass panel because, according to them, they misinterrupted the lease. Okay, that's what you've got to deal with. Now, I approached Genesis some time ago. I have a letter from a man called Jeff Fletcher. Now, his title here is Business Manager Brent Sapp. I won't go into it all, but it says here, however, in some cases the design flaws will exist for good, and now there's no further attempt to resolve this, and there's no solution apart from stripping out the whole scheme and starting again. I mean, the things that we've had here, so basically, what they're admitting to here, that Genesis have built a pile of whatever the word you want to use. We've paid for it, and we have got to continue living there. Now, my concern is this: if Genesis are as inefficient as they are, and there's no people who actually comment on that, and Notting Hill were, when I dealt with them, not that efficient. So are we going to have an exponential jump in efficiency?
Yes,
Because I think we are.
I think the mood of the meeting is that people want to ask a lot more questions, don't they? So I'm going to try and bring in someone that's not spoken before. Maybe the person there, just you with the hand up, the sort of beige grey jumper. Splendid. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Thanks. My name's Chris Hurley. I'm from Ealing Housing Co-op. My question is about housing cooperatives and why Notting Hill are refusing to engage with us. We've written to you, I know a number of other housing co-ops have written to you as well, asking for a specific meeting so that we can discuss the implications of the proposed merger for our management agreement that we have with Notting Hill. We don't have a management agreement with Notting Hill Genesis. We've been told nothing's going to change, don't worry, go away, everything's fine. We don't want to hear that. We want a meeting with all Notting Hill's housing co-ops. I don't know if Genesis has any. Notting Hill in its day used to really encourage housing cooperatives, and they were a really good thing in my view. Meant that I could live in London as a single parent for 30 years and bring up my daughters in a safe and secure environment. And I think they should be encouraged, and we should have more of them. But specifically, will Notting Hill now agree to meet with us, please?
Yes, it's a very simple answer to that. I'm happy to take that on. My apologies, I don't know where that query has gone, but I'm more than happy to meet with yourself and other cooperatives, and we can arrange that afterwards.
Yeah, with all the crop, yes, that's really glad you asked that. Person in the middle, just in the middle with the splendid. Thanks, all. Cheers. I'll get you guys.
Hi. You say that you're actually producing much more social housing, but what you appear to us to be doing is converting what are social rents into what's called so-called affordable, which is not even remotely affordable. I'd like to know, what kind of formula you use to do all of these conversions. There are areas in Notting Hill and Westbourne Park that are just, they're being decimated.
Okay. Yes. I was going to respond to this. We'll have a question from there and a question from this gender, and then we'll get to everyone else as well. Yeah?
The affordable rent regime, which was brought in, and it's not
yeah, you use this, so we know this one, Mark.
This one's working. Thank you. The affordable rent regime was brought in at the moment they cut the grants very, very significantly. And the issue that housing associations then faced was, do we stop developing at all? Do we stop producing new homes? Or do we go with this regime? And for what it's worth, we sat there and we really agonised about it. Is it something that we should do? Because it would mean real inequality between tenants. People who have the social rents and people who have the affordable rents. And the rough difference is about £100 a week on average. And the reason we were, well, firstly, why did we do it? We did it to produce £6 million to subsidise new homes, and we couldn't have had a programme. We had a mixture of social, affordable and shared ownership. We couldn't have had any programme at all if we hadn't gone along with that. Now, what did we do? What was the formula? The formula was that we were allowed to charge up to 80% of the market rent. But we decided not to go along with that formula at Notting Hill. We decided our formula would be that no rent would be higher than the local housing allowance in an area. And that meant that anybody who was in low-paid employment or on benefits could get help from housing benefit to pay the rent. So even if the rent was £200 a week compared to the social rent of £100 a week, people could still afford to live there. But we wouldn't discriminate against anybody in order to take up that. And as you probably know, these homes were advertised on Locator, which is a system people can look at, and the rents were clearly advertised, and lots of people decided not to bid for them, as was their right. So everybody who took one of those homes did so knowing that it had this so-called affordable rent, and I agree with you, it's a ridiculous name. But the rents are covered by a housing benefit, and we're committed to making sure that they are therefore affordable. Yeah, and nobody who cannot afford one is forced to take one. Nobody is forced to take one.
What's the alternative?
We only converted a proportion of homes. So the other alternatives for anybody looking for homes on Locator, a small percentage would be at affordable rent, and they would be less attractive to people, you're quite right, and other homes on Locator would be taken by people who were in work and were able to pay for it. So the choice is there for people. No one was ever obliged to take the affordable rent. However, I'm really delighted, and I'm sure you know, that the Mayor of London has now got rid of that and has introduced something which is now called London Affordable Rent, which is much closer to social rent. So the affordable rent regime is now over. We did participate because we thought this was a way to produce new homes. Nobody's had their rent put up who's already a social tenant. These were new tenancies that people could choose to bid for or not. And we did get a lot of people bidding for them, but nothing like as popular as the social rent. And that is, yeah, I know lots of people can't afford them, but a lot of people could afford them and have taken them up.
No, they have housing benefit.
So that's my
please let me bring people in order. So that person's been a long time, and this is blue, and then I'll bring others in.
It would just be nice to know what the figure affordable was. How much is is affordable? What's the lowest affordable rent?
I can give you some rent figures just really quickly, if that would be useful, just to set it in context. So,
the lowest and highest, that's all we need.
Okay, so I've just got averages at the moment.
All right, go on.
Sandeep, we could probably get highest and lowest if we need it, and we can share it afterwards. So affordable rent, I'll go for 2 beds. So for social rent, it's about £145, and for affordable rent, it's about £213. 2 beds.
It's 100, as Kate said.
Just under. No, so the London affordable rent will be more on par with the social rent, which I've just quoted, which is 145. That is the London affordable.
£900 a month.
My question is for the panel. You've obviously sold the merger as a very positive thing. You can see there's huge views against the merger.
Yep.
So my first part of the question is, why do you think that? And my second part is, if there is enough voice against the merger, will you still go ahead?
Yes!
Are we wasting our time here?
Yes.
Against this merger. So why are you not listening to your tenants?
Well, we are listening, and that's why we're here.
But are you